Well, we are very fortunate now to welcome to XEP Rinaldo Wirz of Momo-Pi, the developer behind Captain Velvet Meteor, the Jump Plus Dimensions. Thank you so much for joining me, Rinaldo.
Hi, hello everyone. Yeah, I'm happy to be here as well. Really nice to talk about the game, generally speaking. So, thank you.
I'm excited to ask you any number of questions because, as I was telling you prior to us hitting the record button, uh, Captain Velvet Meteor is very much outside of my normal gameplay uh, experiences, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
So, do me a favor. Tell me a bit about what the elevator pitch is for Captain Velvet. What is this game? Like, what kind of game is this?
Simply say as a game mechanic, it's a tactical action game.
Mm-hmm.
In 2D isometric. We say 3D isometric, but actually you don't have any 3D inside. And so it's those isometric view
Mm-hmm.
tactical game where you move characters to fight enemies. But here the let's say specificity is that every battle is in the mind of a a young boy called Damien, and so it's a tactical action game that is more friendly, let's say, to main players. Like sometimes tactical can be really like mental at the time. It start to be really complicated, and we try to do something that can be quickly played and enjoyable by almost everyone.
That was quite seriously what attracted me to Captain Velvet Meteor was how approachable it was. Damien, the main character, is a young boy who has to leave his home in France and
Yeah,
moves to Japan.
yeah.
And seemingly, in doing that, that perhaps traumatic experience causes him to kind of go into his own imagination. And it's here that you've crafted this game experience.
Yeah, yeah. So the main subject is it was like to be able to have a game where you can have really a subject that was for me important, and that I guess a lot of kids, especially for our generation, where you can live in the whole world, especially for let's say our countries where you can move around and all that. Yeah, some kids like need to move around. That was something important for me also because I live in Japan, and I had those kind of experience. And so the imagination stuff was like something a little bit personal as well. Like I think you need to human have the ability to change the past and the future
Mm-hmm.
in their mind. Just I
Mm-hmm.
would try to explain that, but like the thing is, like, if you had a really bad experience in the past, the only way you can see it differently is now here with your mind and trying to see, okay, so what I learned from that or whatever, and the future is also only in the mind, like as imagination what will happen. And so that kind of subject I like it, but like it can go really deep. And so how to go like that, do a mix of all that in a game that in the same time, if you don't care about those kind of stories, you can still just enjoy the game because you have manga characters and fighting stuff. And I tried to really have the good balance between all that, between a deeper meaning, something that a lot of kids and a lot of adults now also like would maybe live. Even if you move, like the kid is like from France going to Japan, he's half Japanese, so he knows a little bit, but he's really like, no, now I cut with France friends, like old friend that
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 years after he will meet again when they will be 20, but they will not have the same path at all. So for him is like a cut, start again here. How do you cope with that? And so his mangas, um, like Jump manga, generally Shonen Jump is all about friendship and trying to
Mm-hmm.
go like Gambaru, it's like going further and further, be able to hi John, to be able to go, yeah, to surpass your own fears and
Mm-hmm.
have help and all that. And so I felt like those everything could match so well between the IPs of shonen mangas and my subject and the game itself, that is a tactical battle game. And so that's how everything like started to take shape.
I'm Yeah, no, I'm so anxious to pick apart a bit of that because you've got, anime manga in there. Damien's, of course, traveling across the world. We were talking prior to recording that your last name, Wirtz, is German. You
Yeah,
yourself French, I think you said,
I
and then you live in
speak
Japan.
French, but from
Speak
Switzerland.
French
Yeah,
from Switzerland,
yeah,
live in Japan. Okay, so you yourself bring in this kind of worldly,
yeah.
I'll say worldly knowledge. I would be remiss if I didn't say it feels like that's clearly what's inspiring Damien here.
Yeah, so like I will try to be like short in that, but like my father is from Brazil, my mother is from Switzerland and Panama. I'm
Hmm.
born in Switzerland, so but my Swiss origin, like my grandfather is from German Swiss, like Swiss
Hmm.
German part, but I speak French, and so from the start I had like already three nationality. I heard a lot of language in my family. You have people speaking English as well, speaking German and Spanish and Portuguese and French,
Hmm.
and so and then for some reason I came in Japan because it's what not easy enough or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
seriously.
Yeah, why not? And so I have two kids, and my kids now have four countries, and
Mhm.
so they are half Japanese and all the other. And so even for me, it was always difficult to know like where is home. You know
Mhm.
what is your home, because you have nostalgia about like a Brazil, like stuff that I really like about Brazil. I never lived there, but like some cultural stuff that I'm like, and so you start to be able to compare countries and cultures, and you are kind of searching for the best place, but you understand that there is no best place, because like for example Japan have those really nice stuff,
Mhm.
but those really crappy stuff, and
Mhm.
Switzerland have those really nice stuff and those really crappy stuff, and then you start to see all countries that you could go, like maybe I could not go in, I don't know, in Russia or China or stuff like that, where I don't understand a word, but like
Mhm.
I could go in any country that speak English or Spanish or whatever, and so you start to see everything like in an unzoom situation, and so
Mhm.
for Damien is half half, but like still that's where he need to be able to take his strength at the end. And so it's just a start. I would like to be able to continue to know the story of this kid. For now, it's a short movie that I did like 10 years ago, and this game. But yeah, it's quite personal without like putting all my stuff personal. It's just like the sparkle, the start sparkle is kind of personal, right?
All right, so I'm not letting you get away with the movie part. We're going to come back to that.
Yeah, sure.
But if it is indeed so personal, does that inform a lot of the mission design? And for any listener that's unaware, uh, Damien is tasked with what I would call seemingly mundane things.
Yeah,
Put away this food, go take out the dog, that kind of thing.
yeah,
But in his mind, he creates this world of manga monsters, and he's accompanied by his friend JP, who I don't know if JP's tofu or not, but he looks like tofu at one point. But that's like, what is he? And he has to create this world, and suddenly the mundane task becomes this grand mission for this 10-year-old. Um, is is that informed from you, or trying to perhaps deal with some of the need to move around, accomplish simple stuff, or is it
yeah.
just a cool way
I
to make a
think
story?
Yeah, I think so. JP, it's actually those kind of robot cleaner
He's a Roomba.
stuff. Yeah, Roomba. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
that was my second option, but
Yeah,
I
that you have
was not
actually in
sure.
front of his room in the game. In front of his room, you have a Roomba that is here. And at one point, if you talk with him, it's like, "Hey, JP, you do a really good job at hiding yourself or something like that."
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay.
the thing is like, as I say, if you go too deep, it's difficult to understand. The second thing is like those mundane tasks like seems mundane for us because we
Hmm.
did it. A 10 years old or anyone who does it for the first time is big deal. Like the first time I tried natto, or like the first time you have really something different that you need to confront, or like to, for example, he's alone in the house for the whole time of the game, right? The
Hmm.
father is working somewhere, he's doing something. The grandmother is she's in the room watching TV. You don't see her, you just hear if you go to her room, and the mother just at the start say, I will just go shopping. So it's really a short part, like let's say 30 minutes,
Hmm.
but 30 minutes alone in a house that you don't really know, that have those old smell and the cracking of the ground, those
Hmm.
kind of feeling that when you're young is a big deal. Like when I see my 5 years, is 5 years old, but 5 years old kid, he don't want to go to toilet just because you have the the stair to go to the toilet. You need to go to the stair, and he's always afraid of the stair. But he
Mm,
knows that his room is there. But like, it's not, for us. It's not logical.
mm-hmm.
But when you put yourself in the skin of a 10 years old, let's say, those mundane tasks are not, and so that's why I wanted to show. So like, yeah, his mundane task. Okay, he needs to try the or like just give food to his dog, or like say hello to the, or like take the post outside. But then
Mm-hmm.
something happened, like the old lady start to speak to him in Japanese, and he doesn't understand, and so it's like, oh, fuck, what's happening? How can I deal with that? When
Mm-hmm.
for us it would be, wait a minute, I will use Google Translate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so those, yeah, I think that was interesting for me too.
Yeah, I would have to think now. In his creation, in his mind, when he becomes Captain Velvet Meteor and he's not just Damien, he creates himself to be kind of larger than life and solve these larger than life problems. And the art design that you have here that accompanies Damien into this world is really cool. Um, I know there's a lot of anime and manga inspired approaches to this art, but I'm seeing bright, vibrant colors and almost Lovecraftian monsters, like with
Mhm.
tentacles and stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
Can you talk to me about your art design philosophy and like what it was that kind of took you there?
um I think, like, I have some artists in Japan that I like really
Hmm.
much, like Matsumoto Taiyo, or people like that, that don't have the manga taste. They have a seemingly kid-like way to draw, but it's perfect. I'm not perfect
Hmm.
at all. I really can't go to this level, but like, it's something you see that they kept their child spirit or something like that, right?
Hmm.
And for me, what was important in my illustration, let's say artistic way, is to always have this balance that I have myself between, again, like, adult concerns, or like stuff that you think about, and the childish mood, right? Like, you
Hmm.
see when he's smiling, he have all those big things, like, and it's kind of
Hmm.
it's not realistic,
Hmm.
and it's not manga neither, because manga, have every year, every 5 years, you have styles, and you
Hmm.
have rules, and you have stuff that people like, and I don't want to go there. So I think my style is a little bit between, again, between countries. You have like the runness maybe of more old mangas, maybe. You
Hmm.
have the taste a little bit more of European countries, and a mix of all that. So you cannot, like, it's difficult to say, oh, that's manga, or that's anime, or that's comics, or whatever. That's
Hmm.
probably my style, and it's difficult for me to say what style it is, because
Hmm.
it's just me, right? But I think the inspiration are really mixed between artists that I like, that have this like mix of. So that's why, for example, you have those monsters, and all. I love monsters,
Hmm.
and I try sometimes to do some cute monster, but it's never cute, right? And I try to do something really. It's difficult, for example, to make something really frightening. I can do it, but like, generally, it's just in between. Just, it's like, is that cute? Is that frightening? I don't know, but
Hmm.
so I think it mixed that well, and yeah, that's how I could say. It's difficult to say for, I would prefer someone else to say to me, oh, that makes me think of that and that, and I would say, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, it's
Fair.
always difficult to say by himself, but like,
Sure. Well, one of the neat things about the game that you crafted here is that because it's like turn-based action, you've got a number of characters that have different ability sets and bring different things to the table. Um, I wonder if you could talk about the characters, please, because my understanding, of course, is that you have multiple playable characters. Some of them are crossover characters from other places. Am I saying that right?
okay, so
Spy X Family. See, I don't know anime, so I'm like
it's
embarrassed.
okay, it's okay. So
Okay.
you have the main character, that is Captain Velvet Meteor, and his
Mhm.
character will glue together 8 characters from IPs that are from Shueisha. game from Shueisha actually. And so
I
Shueisha
see.
is the editor of manga from Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, those known, and they have other IPs that come from Jump Plus, like Spy Family, Monster Number Eight. I think Kaiju Number Eight or Monster Number Eight depends on the country. The name
Mm-hmm.
change. You have Hell's Paradise, and like Slime Life, other mangas like that. And so each character have their own universe, right? Their own
Mm-hmm.
series of manga, and they are not linked together like as manga, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the game, each character has its own episode, and they are all in the same spaceship, sharing this space that is Damien's imagination. And so Damien, for each situation he will have, let's say he needs to eat natto at the breakfast, and like salty stuff at the breakfast. That's the first challenge, like miso soup and natto and stuff like that. So instead of croissant and
Mm-hmm.
and butter and stuff like that. And so that's a big challenge. And so for that specific, the character that will be involved in this battle will be a girl like princess from a manga that talk about food. And so you have always this link. Like
Mm-hmm.
for the dog, the first episode is dog, and so the dog get aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not spoiling really, is what you see generally in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Get aggressive, and so he sees it as a kaiju, those big monster like Godzilla and stuff like that. The name of the monster is Dogzilla actually. and
Mm-hmm.
uh and so for that you have a character that comes from a manga where they are fighting kaijus, you know and so
Mm-hmm.
those kind of link is that's how like we link everything together with those IPs.
It's such a cool concept to get multiple IPs in there, and of course, it makes perfect sense that a dog that is intimidating a kid would feel like a kaiju,
Yeah.
for sure. But then in the actual gameplay portion, uh, you got the kind of grid-based combat that, for me, reminds me of Advanced Wars, like
Yeah,
back in the day. But it just feels so approachable, and you guys can do kind of team power-ups with the different characters on each episode, or each individual character has their own attacks. Could you talk a little bit about kind of creating their attack styles and creating move sets for combos and such?
sure. So how we did first is see what character could fight in
Mm-hmm.
all those like known manga. We had more than eight first, and we selected,
Mm-hmm.
and then from their ability to fight, we tried to see what would be the more consistent, like what like special attack they would have in the manga. In shonen manga, often they say it while they are doing it. Right? The
Mm-hmm.
special attacks and stuff like that. So we tried to see what were the like the most known attacks and stuff like that without naming them. We tried to get like to see also the style of combat depending on the style of character. For example, you have the guy from Hell's Paradise, Gamimaru. He's a ninja, and so he has this attack where he dash through enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And so each character has their own attack type, and then they also have, as you say, you have combos. Like when you go together with the character, you have combos, and those combos also need to be linked with the character and the type of system we wanted, because each episode have their system. For example, you have the first one, you have eggs that are popping monsters, and so you need to break them before the monster comes. And so for that you have kaiju that he's screaming really loud, and his scream is breaking stuff and pushing stuff, but he's not doing a lot of damage, but he's
Mm-hmm.
pushing everything out. And this scream is in the manga when he screams to stop an attack, and you have a big scene about that. And so it's like, okay, let's take that, try with that, this specific mechanic. You have one, for example, he just have a strong fist, and he's a how you say, android, like a robot.
Mm-hmm.
And he can push blocks, and so you can do a kind of sokoban, like a little bit violent sokoban, where
Mm-hmm.
if you push big blocks, it will also kill monster in the same time. So each episode has their own mechanic and their own little patterns that makes also the game feeling always a little bit like new. Each time
Hmm.
you go in a new episode, it's like, okay, what will be like the special system for this one? You know,
Hmm.
Slime Life is more about pinball type, where you boop, 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 you know, you have this slime getting a silver slime,
Hmm.
and bumping on monsters and stuff different. So it was all about like trying to merge. I think the whole game, generally, the whole game is how to find a balance between gameplay, story for each manga, and the main story of Captain, and put that together.
Am I right in saying that Captain Velvet Meteor was available on mobile prior to its coming to console?
So first of all, it was available on Nintendo Switch,
Hmm.
and then lately it was made available on Crunchyroll. That
Hmm.
is a platform for anime and manga in
Hmm.
abroad,
Yeah,
so not in Japan, not in Asia.
gotcha. Reason I ask is I feel like the gameplay feels very much like it could work quite well,
Yeah.
in mobile spaces on Switch and whatnot. And the fact that it's here now on consoles, um, it just feels like it's a very approachable way to kind of digest this game. And how long would you say it takes to beat Captain Velvet Meteor?
So to finish the story, probably 10 hours, 12 hour, 12 hour, 12 hours. Sorry, and to have it 100% because you have also like secret missions, sub quests and stuff like that. You
Hmm.
have the boss also at the end. You unlock special bosses to have that. So the 100% would be 15 hours probably.
Okay,
It's between 10 and 15 hours. Not so long,
gotcha.
not so short. Just
Yeah, no, makes perfect sense. It's just it's I think a neat question to think like how much time it takes to invest into a different story
yeah.
here and there. Now, to craft your 12 to 15-hour experience, how long was this game in development?
So mainly it was 2 years of development.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, that feels very short. Did it feel short to you?
No, not really. Like yes and no. Like no, because at one point, you know, when you create a game, you have your nose in the game all the time. And especially for me, my position is to be in between everyone.
Mhm.
So I am always involved. Like and so the thing is like I needed to think about it also the weekends and the night because like my Swiss colleagues are working like for example to do a meeting I needed to do the meeting at 8 and a half in the night when I was
Mhm.
already working from the morning. So for me I started to feel long after like 1 year and a half. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I want that to be finished. You know, when you have the game, you
Yeah.
did all the mechanics, all the stuff, and you need to finalize the little stuff. That was a little bit long, but in the same time, I feel we did it quite quick, as you say, like 15 hours. A team of mainly 5 people plus five outsourcers. Sometimes
Mhm.
you know, like for the music or for stuff like that. And so at the end, I think we did quite well to
Mhm.
do that kind of you know like the we did more than what we expected or like what we thought we would be able to do. So
That's
for that
incredible.
I'm really really happy about that. Yeah.
That's not always the answer I get. I have the privilege of talking to, indie all the way to AAA, and there's always that danger of scope going too big,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And getting feature creep, and then also not wanting to do or not getting to do everything they wanted to do. A dreaded question I tend to ask developers. So prep yourself, my friend.
yeah,
Um, are you happy with it?
yeah. I think yeah. Actually, I'm happy with the result.
Hmm.
uh sure, I have stuff that I would say, oh, maybe that could be better.
Hmm.
um but as I said, I think for the resource we had, the number of people we were, the skill we had, and all that, like we did a pretty good job of having a product that is finished. You know,
Hmm.
that was important for me, is to have, as you say, like the scope was quite big at the start. It was like, can we do 8 episode of 10 level plus one boss for each, plus one story for each, blah blah blah. It was kind of
Hmm.
huge, right? But I prefer to start like that and cut where it's not necessary to then go to the essence of everything. So I think like now if I would do it, probably it would be difficult to do it differently. It would have, I don't know what I could do to make it better. The only thing I would like to do is actually make a DLC or something like that, right? Like to have
Mhm.
like some ideas we had, like to be able to add more environmental, how you say,
Environmental.
environmental, yeah, uh, stuff that happen. Like say you have lava growing and then going down, like stuff
Mhm.
like that. But that's just ideas that I would like to add, and in the same time, maybe not in this game, but because it's just like just good at it is right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing it for 2 years, and like you said, you've been burning the candle at both ends, morning and night. You know.
Yeah. So yeah. So we did everything we could. So for that, I'm happy with the result. Definitely.
Does that change? Like, do you anticipate working on a DLC, or is it that not the goal? Like, would you rather do those features somewhere else? Because that's a tepid question. Some people really want to go in, and others are like, "Nope, I'm done. New project."
No, I think the project it depends really how it goes in terms of sales as well, because
Mm-hmm.
like depends, like to be transparent, it depends on the money, simply
Mm-hmm.
said. So if it works well, then we have the money to do a DLC, then we would probably. It depends also on the publisher, like do they want to do it or not, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a collaboration. That said, I think the IDs I have in the library of IDs for a lot of type of game, I have a lot of stuff. I'm sure that at one point, if we do another game, what we did in Captain Velvet Meteor will help
Mm-hmm.
doing some other stuff, and then we might take some ideas that we didn't, throw there here, or even like, oh, this idea was really nice, but maybe in that game we can like tweak it like that. And I think that's what is important, especially for indies, is to use what you know already,
Mm-hmm.
and like having your own rock, and you try to make it better and better and put details and stuff on your craft. So for me it would be okay to be the same game, because now it's we finished it like 1 year ago, and we did just a port for
Mm-hmm.
Steam and Xbox with what was necessary. So it's not like we were producing new mechanics or new contents, right? So I would be ready to, if it's doable.
Right.
But I
Well,
cannot say we are doing it. Like that's not in the
right.
discussion for
Of
now.
course. Of course. I wasn't trying to pin you into that. It's just like sometimes people are ready for fresh and new. Other times it's like, no, I want more of this. Um, you mentioned Xbox and Steam. Uh, Captain Velvet Meteor coming out on Xbox, Steam, Windows PC, March 1st, February 29th, just time zones, but right in there, um, where gamers can go and check that one out. It's also, you said, available on Nintendo Switch as well.
Yep.
If gamers and players find themselves enraptured with Captain Velvet, will they get to go back and watch your movie? See, I didn't forget. I didn't
It's
forget.
really a small. I mean, this movie. Yeah, if they want, it's good. It's an old. I was still in school, animation school,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I had this little character that I did like some comic strip with some funny stuff in three how you say comma, like three
Like
tiles,
panels.
and yeah, three panels,
Okay.
and each time it was like the adventure of Captain Velvet Meteor doing something that feels crazy, but at the end, the last panel was like, oh, actually, he's trying to steal cookies from the kitchen, or actually, he's stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, doing a little bit bad stuff. And from that point, I did a little animation movie, kind of funny, where he wants to take back an artifact in a big alien spaceship, but
Mm-hmm.
actually he just want to take back his Game Boy from his dad's room. And so that was kind of the point. So I think if they enjoy, they can. I
Mm-hmm.
would be happy, but like the quality is like, I was a student, so for me it's like I'm happy with it, but at the same time it's like this
Mm-hmm.
animation was crap, or like stuff like that. Like, always the more difficult is to see your own art and your own craft.
The
And
curse
probably
of
I
the
would think the
artist.
same about Captain Velvet, the game in 10 years. I don't know, but like,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. That's
But
the
we
curse
have
of the artist,
actually we
Michael.
have a. I'm sorry.
No, I just said that's the curse of the artist.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But actually, we have also like a one-shot manga that came from another artist. here in Japan that did one shot manga with Captain Velvet Meteor, and I feel that's also a way to do it. Captain is kind of universal character. Like he could work in any country and any artist could take. I would be okay if we talk about it like that someone else take the character to try to do his own version of his own memories about a kid doing like okay, you know what I mean? Like it's multiverse in a place, but it's also multi um how you say
It's in his imagination, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Everyone's imagination could work with that character, and that could be the future of this character as well. Like the past was my own little animation stuff, but
Mhm.
it can be a lot of things, I see.
Yeah. Well, Ronaldo Wirtz, we have from Momo-Pi, so excited for Captain Velvet Meteor to arrive onto Xbox and Steam and Windows PC for gamers to get to check it out that haven't already. Is there anything you'd like to say to viewers or listeners about your game that maybe we haven't covered yet?
I would say that the first like when you start playing it, the first 30 minutes can feel a little bit long maybe because we did a tutorial that is narrative and you need to do it. But in the same time, that slow pace of understanding will help really enjoying the game from the first episode that is free with kaiju number 8. So if I have only one thing that I would say is like at the start just take your time to enter in the game, and then from that point you will really have the action and all that. And yeah, I would really like to see how player feel about it, because you have also, as I said, like a deeper meaning in that. Like you have this child, but you have also fatherhood, like how fathers will sometimes like my own feeling about like what is your responsibility as a father for a kid's traumatic event, like what can you do and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say try to grind deep in the game
Hmm.
as much as you can, and if you are influencers or stuff like that, even not like if you have a little thought about it, I would really like to have it. It's just personal, it's not even like
Hmm.
promotional, it's just personal. I would love to see how people react to the game ending, for example, or stuff like that.
Well, I will say that a lot of the XEP listeners are wonderfully creative and love reaching out and chatting with developers. For anybody that plays Captain Velvet Meteor, wants to get in touch with you, where can they find you in social spaces?
So on Instagram and X, you can find me under the name RYOFOUGERE, Rio Fougere, and you can just DM personally, no problem. I'm open to discussion generally. I like to be human, how you say, link with humans more than
There you
AI.
go.
I would say.
Fair,
In a
fair.
world of AI, I really would love a talk with a real person.
There, sounds good. And listeners and viewers, you guys can find links to Ronaldo's stuff in the show description. So feel free to look there. Uh, Ronaldo, thank you so much for joining me today. I very much appreciate your time. Best of luck on the game's launch, and listeners, gamers, once you have played it, please reach out to Ronaldo and let him know what you think. That's going to be it for us. Have a fantastic
Thank
rest
you.
of your day. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.